Backstage just got dangerous, and Brock Lesnar made sure everybody knows it. WWE Express family, if you blinked during the closing minutes of Raw, you missed one of the most violent post-show moments we've seen in months, and we're breaking down every single second of it right now, because what allegedly happened after the cameras stopped rolling might end up shaping the entire road to Night of Champions. So let's set the stage properly. Dominik Mysterio walked into Raw thinking he was untouchable, surrounded by his usual smirking confidence, talking trash like he always does, acting like the rules of consequence simply don't apply to him, and he walked out of that ring looking like he'd been hit by a truck. The destruction in that match was total. DOM got dismantled in a way that felt less like a wrestling match and more like a message being sent directly to the locker room. This wasn't just a loss, this was a statement. And when the cameras kept rolling after the segment officially ended, that's when things got really interesting. According to backstage chatter circulating from the event, Oba Femi was reportedly making his way toward the production area, still riding the intensity of what had just happened in the ring. Femi has been positioning himself as the most dominant physical force on the entire roster, a man who doesn't just want championships, he wants respect from everyone who's ever been called the toughest competitor on the show. Sources suggest he wanted to make his presence felt before the night was over, possibly looking to send his own message after watching DOM get torn apart. That's when, allegedly, Brock Lesnar appeared. Now here's where it gets wild. Multiple individuals near the scene reportedly described Lesnar as looking locked in, almost predatory, the same look he's had before some of his most devastating attacks in WWE history. We're talking about that 1,000-yard stare, the kind that's preceded chaos for over 2 decades. Femi, to his credit, reportedly didn't back down. Word is the two had words first, a tense exchange that escalated fast, and then Lesnar allegedly made the first physical move, driving Femi into a nearby equipment case before unloading with the kind of brutal, suplex-heavy offense that's defined the Beast Incarnate's entire career. Let's pause here for a second, because we need to talk about why this matters so much. Brock Lesnar attacking someone backstage isn't a small moment. This is a man whose entire legacy is built on calculated violence, on choosing his targets with intention. He doesn't get involved in chaos for the sake of chaos. So the real question isn't just what happened, it's why Oba Femi specifically became the target on this particular night. Let's think about this from a storyline perspective, because the layers here are fascinating. Femi has been climbing the ranks aggressively, racking up dominant performances and openly talking about wanting to test himself against the company's biggest legends. He's not hiding his ambition. He's been vocal about wanting smoke with anyone willing to give it to him. Lesnar, meanwhile, has made it clear since his return that he has no interest in handshakes or mentorship. He wants competition, and more specifically, he wants to be feared again, the way he was feared during his most dominant runs. There's also a theory going around the WWE Express comments section that this wasn't random at all. Some fans believe Lesnar has been quietly evaluating Femi for weeks, watching how he handles pressure, how he reacts to chaos, how he performs when the spotlight gets too bright and the stakes get too real. The Dominik destruction may have simply been the spark. Lesnar may have seen Femi reacting to that violence with hunger instead of hesitation, and decided right then that this was the test he wanted to administer personally, on his own terms, in his own way. And let's talk about what this means for Oba Femi's trajectory going forward. If these reports are accurate, getting targeted by Brock Lesnar is not a step backward, it's a massive validation. Lesnar doesn't waste his time on competitors he views as filler or mid-card noise. Every attack, every stare down, every suplex from the Beast has historically been reserved for people WWE is actively building towards something enormous. If Femi is now in Lesnar's crosshairs, that's the company telling us, without saying a single word on commentary, that Oba Femi is the future of this business. But we can't ignore the other side of the story either, because Dominik Mysterio's destruction earlier in the night might be more connected to this backstage chaos than people realize. Think about the timeline here. DOM gets obliterated in the ring, the locker room is buzzing, emotions are at a boiling point, adrenaline is through the roof, and then Lesnar and Femi collide backstage almost immediately after. Was Femi's reported aggression backstage a direct result of adrenaline from what he just witnessed? Did watching that level of violence in the ring trigger something primal in him, a need to prove he belongs in that same conversation of dominance, that same tier of fear that Lesnar has occupied for years? There's also speculation building around what this means heading toward Night of Champions in Riyadh. With Lesnar already positioned in a high-profile rivalry, an attack like this backstage could easily be the seed for an even bigger confrontation down the line. WWE has a long history of using unsanctioned, chaotic moments like this to plant flags for future blockbuster matches. Think about how many legendary rivalries started with exactly this kind of unscripted feeling chaos, a backstage attack that bled into weeks of escalating tension before finally exploding inside the ring in front of thousands of fans. If Femi responds the way fans are hoping, this could escalate into one of the most anticipated showdowns of the year. Let's also acknowledge the optics of this attack, because optics matter in this business. Lesnar isn't just trying to hurt Femi physically, he's trying to break him mentally. There's a reason Lesnar has built his entire legacy on making opponents question whether they truly want to step into the ring with him. Fear is a weapon in WWE, and Lesnar has wielded it better than almost anyone in history. If Femi gets back up from this, if he comes out swinging on the next show with even more intensity and even more confidence, that tells the entire roster something important. It tells them Oba Femi cannot be intimidated, and in WWE, that reputation is priceless. It's the kind of reputation that turns a rising star into a true main event force. We also have to consider how the rest of the roster might react to this. Backstage attacks have a way of rippling outward. Allies of Femi could step forward looking for retribution. Other competitors who've had their own issues with Lesnar might see this as an opportunity to insert themselves into the conversation. Nothing in WWE happens in isolation, and a moment this explosive almost always has consequences that stretch far beyond the two men directly involved. Of course, we have to remind everyone watching, these are speculative fan theories and observations based on storyline patterns and reported behind-the-scenes buzz. Nothing here is officially confirmed by WWE, and we always encourage you to watch the official events and storylines unfold for yourselves as the next few weeks of programming play out. So now we want to know what you think. Was this attack premeditated, calculated, exactly the kind of move Lesnar has made his entire career out of? Or was it pure emotional chaos spilling out from the ring after watching Dominik get destroyed? Could this be the beginning of a Lesnar vs Femi program that dominates the next few months on the road to Riyadh? Drop your theories down in the comments below, because this WWE Express community always brings the best breakdowns, the sharpest analysis, and honestly some of the wildest predictions we've ever seen. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because we are covering every twist, every rivalry, and every backstage mystery as WWE heads toward Night of Champions. Smash that like button if this breakdown got you fired up, and we will see you in the next one.